It's time for Tiger Talk, presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago, amazing craft beers and food, north of I-70 in Hayes. Old Chicago, share, reconnect, celebrate. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System, and the official physicians for Fort Hays State University Athletics. The certified public accountants of Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball. Your trusted advisors, providing you with commitment, experience, and integrity. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, Valley Hope of Norton. Get help and find hope. The Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. Horizon Appliance and Mattress. TVs, appliances, Traeger grills, and Tempur-Pedic bedding. Open 7 days a week at 1501 East 27th in Hayes. And Eagle Communications. Internet, TV, phone. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
And a good Monday to you. Welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you here from Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. We're just north of the interstate. And ready to bring you some Tiger Talk as we talk Fort Hays State men's and women's basketball. It was another good weekend for the Tigers, this time at home, taking on the two Oklahoma schools, and both the men and the women pick up victories in both games to stay unbeaten at home. The women now increasing their conference mark to 6-0. They're 15-0. And the men with another nice victory, improving to 11-4 and 5-1 of the conference. We'll catch up with head men's coach Mark Johnson a little bit later on in the program. But right now we bring in women's head coach Tony Hobson. Congratulations. It's always a fun Monday after a couple of nice Tiger wins. And your squad took care of business over the weekend against the two Oklahoma teams.
We did. We have fought off the tendency to get complacent, I think, for the most part. And our kids have done a great job in staying prepared and staying enthusiastic about playing, and I've told them before, if you can't enjoy what we're doing right now, then you're in the wrong sport, and I think they all agree, and they've done a good job of just staying grounded through all this and just moving on to the next game.
And this can be kind of the dog days, so to speak. We're getting close to mid-January. Classes still have not started. I mean, it's a lot of basketball. It's nice because they can basically basketball and then do whatever. But, you're just past the midway point of games played. This can always be a challenging time. But as you said, when you're having the type of season you're having, it makes it a little bit easier to get up and get ready to play and practice every day.
Well, it is definitely the hardest part of the year, I think. Early in the year, you have the excitement of a new season and just getting started, and you haven't played games in a while, and it's exciting in that way. And at the end of the year, I'd say usually the first, second week in February, you have the excitement of the anticipation of postseason, of conference tournament, of a possible NCAA bid. You can kind of see how the conference races are stacking up and what needs to happen, and there's just a mental pickup at that time. There's about a 3-week period in here where you're still too far from the end of the season to see that light, and you're too far into the season to have that newness. That's worn off. Mm-hmm. So you really have to fight yourself just to stay engaged and understand that season is pretty close to getting to the end, even though it seems like it's a long ways in the future. They have a hard time, and I think coaches battle it too, of just staying engaged just on a daily basis, and it's a tall task, but our kids have been up to it so far.
We talk about it every year, but you get to this point, I mean, you're pretty much playing twice a week either Thursday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Saturday, like it does this week, and it goes fast. I mean, you blink a little bit or have a little hiccup, can change a lot. So these are all obviously very important games, but it is amazing how before you look up, it's the third week of February and the conference tournament's just around the corner.
Yeah, it's just that's why you just see very seldom even the best teams have such a hard time going through the season undefeated in basketball because you play so many games and trouble is lurking around every corner, and I think the home court advantage in basketball is, since it's an indoor sport, kind of confined compared to maybe football. I just think it's more of a home advantage, having the crowd set right on top of you. I mean, the travel's the same, but as far as like during the game, I think it's a decided advantage in basketball to be at home. So, you get into these situations where, just like last week, I thought we were very prepared for the Thursday game. You have a couple extra days. I'm probably just not mentally capable of concentrating on the Saturday game before we played the Thursday game. I don't like to do it. Maybe it's more superstition. I'll do some things knowing in the back of my mind who we're playing. We might try to cover a couple things earlier in the week, but for the most part, everything for Saturday's game is done for me Thursday night, early Friday morning, and you could tell I didn't think we looked quite as sharp on Saturday, but maybe that's just because you had a game on Thursday. You're a little tired and whatever, but you can really, basketball can turn on a dime, and you just have to just try to prepare your best and just play your best every game and see what happens.
Well, the Tigers did that on Saturday and Thursday, winning over Northeastern and UCO. We'll talk more about those games, and obviously we'll look ahead to a big week on the road against some rivals, Emporia State, Washburn. You may have heard of them. That's what's on the schedule for this week. We'll take a break. We're at Old Chicago recording Tiger Talk live on Mondays during the noon hour, so we hope you can make your plans to join us next week for lunch. You can try one of their great pizzas with dough made fresh daily. It's at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room north of the interstate in Hayes. We'll take our first break. More with Coach Hobson when we return on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
I'm Patty Stoll, broker-owner of Coldwell Banker Executive Realty. We want your dreams to become a reality. Coldwell Banker Executive Realty prides itself in putting you first.
Up top to Ross. Taylor drives, kicks it over to Page in the corner now to Leggett. Thought about shooting, skips it over the left corner. Three-pointer from Ross is good. Her third of the game. 11 for Taylor. 38-22, Tigers by 16, their largest lead. That was some of the action from Thursday in the Tigers' 88-50 win over Northeastern State. Big night for Taylor. 4 of 6 from 3. She finished that contest with 14 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and then she comes back on Saturday, had 11 points, 3 boards, just 1 of 4 from 3, but really playing well. Her and Whitney off the bench have been a big spark, and they've played well all year, but they've really elevated, especially on the offensive end here, though it seems like since Christmas, and really giving you another, 1-2 punch, so to speak, coming off the bench like they have.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody else has the luxury of having a couple kids like that coming off the bench, and Taylor of recent has been really sharp, playing with a lot of confidence, and she looks kind of skinny and frail out there, but she's stronger than you think. She's a tough kid, doesn't mind going inside. We're even trying to post her up once in a while. You forget that she's 5'10" or 11, and a lot of times she has 5, 6, or 7 Gardner, and we can use her that way. So she's been playing great off the bench. Randall's been really solid also, and just gives us a little giddy up. Or if you have to take T out of there for a few minutes, who makes so many things happen, Randall gives us a lot of the same things. And don't think that don't like Whitney Randall because I call her Randall, but when you have two Whitneys on the team,
Yeah.
you don't have any Whitneys. You have a Randall and a Clampett instead of two Whitneys. So that's why they go by their last names.
And Taylor, I thought this year and recently now she's shooting it better. She's scoring. Has done a lot of the little things that don't always show up in the box scores, but it seems like you just see her game progress. Now a junior, a lot of those little things she's been good at from the start this year. Now she's adding the scoring component to it.
Well, defensively she's better. She does a really good job at closing the gap when somebody tries to penetrate between. She deflects a lot of basketballs, and she also has turned into a really good defensive rebounder. Has the ability to rebound it and then push it herself for 2 or 3 dribbles before she advances it, and that's good. That's one reason why we're so much better at fast breaking this year, is because we don't have to stand there and wait to get the outlet to a certain person, because you have Laney gets a lot of defensive rebounds, Taylor, Casey, even T. There's really only one person that can't just take it themselves, and that's Belle, and she's even shown that she can if she needs to. So those things just help us get it out and get that little burst going and kick it up floor, and you get a lot of easy shots that way.
Well, 2 nice wins, 2 convincing wins, although they were certainly more challenging than their final scores. And Thursday was a rough and tumble game. I mean, Northeastern, their physical team, and tensions got a little high at times. You could feel it on the floor. But, I mean, you're getting the best from everybody, which is expected when you're having the type of season that you're having. But I thought your team kind of flexed their muscle midway through that and said enough's enough, and kind of put their foot on the gas and took care of business.
Well, I think, against Northeastern, I think, even though we got such a big second half it was up to 40 probably, and it seemed closer than that because they were a little chippy, and I think teams have a tendency when they don't quit, and I didn't think they quit. When teams don't quit, they get ticked off, and they're just getting beat so bad that they're still trying to compete, and one of the only ways they can compete is just to get rough and try to turn things around. You just hope you don't get somebody hurt in a situation like that. But it did. They were a rough team. They got some strong kids, and I thought we responded well just by playing hard and by stretching the lead out instead of trying to retaliate. And I think a perfect example was T, and she did a good job because she got hit a couple times pretty good, and just responded by having a great game and kind of carrying the load for about 5 minutes like she's known to do.
I think she took an elbow, and then she got trucked in the lane. It looked like she was just standing there and got a foul called against her. You could see the frustration. Then she came down and buried a 3, and you could just kind of I mean, that's the best way to you're upset. You think you maybe got wrong. Just go out there, hit a 3, score 5 or 6 in a row, and it's all good.
Yeah. Well, I tell our kids, just, instead of making a statement some other way, just let your play and do your talking for you. You don't have to really do anything else. Just if you want people to notice you, you don't have to look different. You don't have to act different. Just play well. People will take notice of that, and they appreciate that of being that way on the floor.
Casey Kennett had 15 points, 8 rebounds against Northeastern. Came back with 14 points, 4 boards, 3 assists against Central Oklahoma on Saturday. Doesn't seem like she's shooting quite as many threes. She's doing a lot of other things, and no, you look and she's shooting a 3-point at a much higher rate right now. It just seems like she's been more efficient with her perimeter game and doing a lot of other stuff to complement that.
Well, I think you're exactly right. She has been trying to attack the basket a little bit and even shoot the mid-range, and I think that's opening up her 3-point shot. So when she does have a 3-pointer, it's really an open one, and then that's made her percentage raise up a lot. So Casey's playing at a real high level, along with a lot of other kids, and boy, it's good to see her get that 3-point shot going, because she's a real consistent player. Otherwise, sometimes her 3-point shooting has been a little inconsistent, but she's a great defender, a good rebounder, just does all the little things that we need her to do. And we've got a lot of kids that do the little things, and boy, a lot of little things can add up to points in the end, and that's what's working for us now.
Saturday against UCO, you had back and forth start. You had a big run in that first quarter, got it up to 14, and then they came back, and we kind of touched on it. And I thought it was interesting. Dustin asked you after the game. You win it by 20, and there were just times it felt like it was a struggle. You just couldn't quite get over the hump, couldn't pull away. And I remember thinking that and look up at the board, and you're up by 20. And you kind of touched on how expectations have kind of changed a little bit, and didn't play a bad game, and you beat a really good team who was nationally ranked up until about 2 weeks ago. You beat them by 20, but yet it just didn't quite feel that way on Saturday.
Well, I know that we're probably a little spoiled. I'm probably a little spoiled by how well we've been playing for the most part, and maybe our fans are even spoiled. But, I don't know how else to do it. I'm not going to be satisfied unless I think we're playing as good as we can play. And if we're up 25 and it's like that, it's going to be the same. And I think if you just don't have those expectations and don't expect that every time out, then you're not going to get it. So, I just thought we were a little loose with the ball. We were uncharacteristic. We just weren't doing the things we usually do. We traveled 4 or 5 times, and I just thought we were unsure of ourselves. And part of that was my fault. We made I was thinking about it after the game that we made 3 or 4 adjustments in some of the offenses we run just because of what Central Oklahoma does on defense. And so we were entering into our offense with a different cut or a different look. And all I was able to do was confuse us. So the first 4 or 5 minutes when it was about tied, we were kind of, we would dribble enter instead of passing it to the wing. We'd dribble over there, and then everybody was standing there watching Carly dribble it on the wing and stand around. And then so finally after the first media timeout, we just said, just scrap that, go back to how we usually do things, and then we had that big run. So, I know these guys. I mean, it's okay with some people have a harder time making those adjustments, and but so I have to pay attention a little bit too. I thought they were, it was all things that we should have been able to do, but at the same time, when you only have that little one-day little window, you have to keep it simple, and we play much better when we just are simple and just rely on our instincts and let them go.
Well, Tigers got the win, 81-61. They're 15-0 and 6-0 in the conference, and on the road this week, starting Wednesday night at White Auditorium. The Tigers and the Hornets. Always fun when the two longtime rivals get together. We'll take a little preview look at that when we return here on Tiger Talk. It's recorded during the noon hour on Monday, so make your plans to join us next week for lunch. Of course, you can stop by anytime. It's Old Chicago, burgers, sandwiches, salads, distinctive taproom fare, Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, serious craft brews, seriously good food north of the interstate in Hayes. We'll take a break. Be back with more from Coach Hobson right here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love?
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Chancellor with a dribble, now cross-court packs to Blessington, drives into the lane, tried to pass it in low, and it's rejected out of there by Ross, taken away by Clampett, plays it up the floor to Page, now in low to Heim for the layup, a beautiful transition basket, Carly Heim with 7, it's 70-45 Tigers. Yeah, that was a pretty fast break, and you mentioned being able to get out on it. I don't know how many times we see it that maybe 1 or 2 dribbles or no dribbles, and you're able to get it down and get a beautiful layup. Team can get out of the open floor, and it's fun to watch.
Well, that was because it happened right in front of us, and it started off with either deflection or a block shot and by Taylor, and Clampett recovered it, took a dribble up the wing to Laney, and I can't remember even if she put it on the floor. Maybe once. And she's a really good open floor passer. I mean, she's probably as good of passer as we have, and probably wasn't. I was thinking maybe we should just slow it down, but it was just a great play, and Carly filled the lane really well, and if she isn't sprinting full speed, she doesn't get there, and so everything went right on that one. But we have an unselfish team where a lot of these kids would just as soon make that pass as score. In fact, most of them, I know T's like that, Carly's like that, Laney's a good passer, Taylor's a good passer, so you can go right down the line.
Well, it was a nice play. Got the Tigers out to that 25-point lead. They win it by 20. And now on the road this week to take on Emporia State on Wednesday, and then Saturday in Topeka against the Washburn Ichabods. Obviously, two big games, two in-state rivals, a lot of history between the two. And you face an Emporia team that you beat by 10 back early in conference play, back in early December. So it's been a while. And maybe a desperate team. They lost on a buzzer beater yesterday at Missouri Western. They're 2-3 in conference, yet they're a good team. You're going to obviously catch their best at a venue that is difficult to win in, mainly because they're usually a pretty darn good basketball team.
Yeah, it'll be a knockdown drag-out, I'm sure. And they will be. They're backed into a corner. They've lost double overtime game to Washburn, and then they lost at the buzzer yesterday. So they've lost, we beat them by 10, but otherwise there's two losses have been, double overtime and by 2 at the buzzer. So they're a tough team. They shoot the ball extremely well. They have a couple kids that can really get to the basket. We'll have to be on point. We'll have to be really good to win on Wednesday.
And that's what's scary about them, I think, because they can shoot it so well. And they've been pretty good all year, but, teams on their home floor are usually a little more comfortable and do it. And against teams like that, I mean, you can do a lot of things well on defense and be in the right spot, but they step back, hit a big three, it kind of goes for naught. That's what's scary about them, I think.
Well, it is, and they seem to always shoot it better there, and we've shot it well there. I mean, we've played fine at their place for the most part. What is, a great offensive player trumps a great defensive player. I mean, if you put a good defender on a good offensive player, most of the time the offensive player is going to be able to score, get to the line. So you have to, you not only have to have a good defender on them, but you have to have a little help somewhere. So you just have to be in position against these guys, and then they do crash the boards like crazy. They're big at the guard spot like we are, and athletic, so they get a lot of offensive rebounds. So you have to just tend to all kinds of business against these guys, and now they're, I was trying to figure out who I wanted to win yesterday, and I said, well, I don't know if I want them to get beat or not, because you're gonna get their absolute best on Wednesday, and hopefully we're up for it.
Well, Jessica Wayne and Tyra Jones obviously stand out there. They're top two scorers, right at 15 points a game. I mean, Wayne can shoot the three. She's on the all-defensive team, very athletic. I mean, in that Washburn game, I think Jones fouled out. That kind of was the difference down the stretch in the double overtime. But those two really make them go. Well,
they're really hard to defend if you're trying to play man-to-man defense. They can both shoot it, and they can both take it to the basket going either way. Really, really athletic. And then you have Miller and Lackey, who are as good of three-point shooters as there are in the conference. And Lackey's a real solid, steady point guard. So they kind of just they can really get you if you aren't really paying attention. So it'll be a challenge for us. And, we've had, after that Central Missouri game, we've had 3 blowout wins. And so I guess we're as ready as we can be. This is about as good a time as first of all, there's not a good time to go play at Emporia or at Washburn. It's just no such thing. It was never invented. But if there is such a time, it would be now for us. We're playing as well as we probably can. We're healthy. We're still excited about playing. So. It's a good time to give them a run.
I even talked about Washburn. I know you like to put your emphasis on the game at hand, so we'll just go ahead and do that. But obviously they'll be good. They're undefeated in conference, having a great year, and always tough. Ron McHenry's teams maybe slower pace when it's a more of a grind 'em out game, and it's always a challenge to play them.
Well, and they're, like you said, they're undefeated and playing on the east side this year. I'm not sure where their losses are going to come. They have to go to Central Missouri yet, and they'll have to go to Lindenwood. But one of them needs to be us because they're like I said, they're playing good and they're shooting the ball better and they play solid defense. So, boy, at least it just seems like they've really came around. They were 4-4, now they're 8 or 9-4 and playing well and again I think they've got their interest back and all excited about playing and they'll be jacked for us on Saturday.
Should be a fun week of Tiger basketball. We will see you at Venerable White Auditorium on Wednesday night.
Okay.
Should be a fun one.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Tiger women. Again, they'll play 5:30 on Wednesday at Emporia State, and then a 105 tip from Lee Arena in Topeka on Saturday. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour on Mondays. Don't forget you can order online. It's at oldchicago.com, and make sure to-go orders a breeze. Old Chicago, your craft beer authority north of the interstate in Hayes. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some men's hoops with Mark Johnson as we continue on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. Hi, everyone. This is Gerard Wellbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's Channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour Mondays at Old Chicago. Steal by Marcus Cooper. Fort Hays State steals it, and they have a chance to take the lead here with 40 seconds to play. Oh, Marcus Cooper with his fourth steal of the game. Here's Kinnaman up top off a screen. Backdoor to Cooper for the jam, and Fort Hays State has the lead. Marcus Cooper has scored the last 5. 66-64, Fort Hays State. Yeah, it was quite a flurry there for the Tigers as they rally to knock off Northeastern State on Thursday, 69-65, and then a relative blowout. They win by 6 on Saturday over Central Oklahoma, 90-84. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, where we recorded over the noon hour on Monday at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Be sure to check out their late night specials the next time you're in. Every day, starting at only $3 at Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. Head men's coach Mark Johnson joins us now, and starting to think this is just how it's going to be with your team. Seems like every conference game kind of goes down to the wire, and you look at the MIAA, the standings, and just the way it's unfolding, there's just a lot of parity. It makes for a lot of exciting games, probably maybe a little bit too tense and too exciting for the coaches and some of us close to it, but 2 nice wins, two just gutty wins for your squad, I thought, this week.
Yeah, I think so, and you're right. I mean, the parity in the league is as good as it's ever been. I mean, top to bottom, you see – look at Missouri Western. Look at their last 2 weeks. They go sweep the Oklahoma trip and then get swept at home. I mean, if you don't play well, it doesn't matter who you're playing and where you're at, home or away, you're going to lose that game. And we were off to a 5-1 start, which is a really good start, and it had to be done. I mean, if you look at our schedule and you look who you're playing, where you're playing, and what is on the horizon for us here, we had to get off to a great start in conference play, and our guys have done a great job with that. Took care of business and won the games that we needed to win, and same thing. They're all going to be hard fashion, And this week that just happened was probably similar. If we're going to win the games, they're going to come down usually to the last 5 minutes, made big plays, and really proud of our guys. Each game was different in the fact that Northeastern very slow down, grinded out, low possession game. Central Oklahoma very entertaining, high scoring, up and down, back and forth, a lot of offense.
Heard the highlight there. Marcus Cooper with a big play kind of took over. They had gone on an 8-0 run to go up 3, and then he kind of takes over and got the steal, got the dunk. He had a big 3 to tie, which probably was the play of the game.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't get that one, you probably don't win that game.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate at home. We've kind of stepped up and made that big 3 when it had to be made, whether it be Aaron Nicholson a few times, obviously Brady against the Bethel team, Marcus the other night. And, Marcus played well. He played well both games this week. He played well at Baptist, really kind of, like I said, it really started a week ago or whenever that was when we were at Baptist Central Missouri. Like I said, he had 10-4 against Central, and I thought he played poorly. And he had 10-4 against Baptist, and I thought he played really well. And when he's locked in, attacking the rim. I thought a big part, there would be times last year and earlier this year, 2 times he had the ball late against Central Oklahoma. Shot clock got to 4 or 5. He just would have settled for the 3-point shot, and he just kept attacking. And he made a big layup there at the end of the clock. We needed that basket, and he's just kind of playing the way he needs to play. You're a 6'4", strong, long, athletic guy. Play that way. Don't play like a 5'10", very unathletic, weak person that all you can do is just stand out there and play and shoot threes. Use what you've been given, and I think he's doing a better job of that.
You talked about the contrast in style on these two teams. I mean, Northeastern, and again, that was a team that had not won a conference game coming into that. They eventually beat Kearney on Saturday, so they were near the bottom, and I thought a very talented team, good size, but, boy, every possession so important because they milk that clock down and make you play defense for the whole 30 seconds. And thought you guys did, for the most part, a pretty good job against a team that can shoot it really well.
Yeah, I thought both games, I've been disappointed numerous times this year in our defense, especially early in the season. And I thought both games, I don't know statistically as if it was necessarily what you wanted, but I thought we played fairly good defense. I don't have many complaints against Northeastern. Those guys are capable of stepping up, making shots, and then what they do, they have some long athletes inside, made it difficult for us to score at the rim and Brady to finish around the rim. And then you go to the Central Oklahoma game. I mean, those two guys, number 3 and number 10, I mean, they number 10 had 26 or something and 12, and I thought we did a fairly good job on him. And, I thought we made it number 3. I thought we made him make tough shots. I mean, those guys are good players. And, yeah, I mean, it was just you got to be able to win either style. And we probably, when teams start slowing it down like Northeastern, we probably, just being quite honest, we probably don't have enough juice in the backcourt to really speed that game up. If you're going to get that, you got to have, some certain guys that can just go get it right away and make some plays right off and get the tempo going. And that's probably not just going to happen for us. So, I mean, our guys did a great job of being able to win a slow possession game, then turn back around and win a high-scoring game.
You mentioned Central Oklahoma, much, I guess, more fluidity, up and down a little bit more, obviously, as evidenced by the 90 to 84 score. But, well, player for player, and you mentioned it, Ashford Golden shot very well, and then Madarius Avery, the Loyola transfer, is phenomenal. I mean, and it's not just them. You look at their lineup, it's like, how in the world had –
yeah, and when part of it's their schedule, and again, it just shows you got to come out, and part of the thing, too, when you get it like people like high-scoring game, well, that was fun. A lot of times you're at the mercy of how well the other team guards, and if the other team maybe allows you to score it quickly, then it's going to be a back-and-forth game. Northeastern, I feel like a lot like us. I mean, if we're letting the other team score in 10 seconds, we're not going to be happy with what we're doing. So part of the time, too, is if you're playing a team that really guards you, it takes you a while to get a shot off, and then hopefully with our defense, it takes our opponent. But Central Oklahoma allowed it, one, they could just score it quickly, and then 2, they were allowing us to get some pretty good looks quickly, so it becomes an entertaining game. But sometimes, people think you can control that, and outside of just being a complete pressing team, which we're not tall enough to be a pressing team, it's hard to speed another team up. And like I said, for us, it was great that we were able to go both ways. And, but I think both these teams, they've had a very challenging opening, for their first 6 games on the road. One of your home games is Northwest Missouri. Clearly they're showing they're the best in the league. And I think you're going to say the same thing about Emporia State as we start here on Wednesday. They're 2-3 in league. Well, 4 of their first 5 games have been on the road, and their one home game was Washburn, who's right up there too. So I think, we're 5-1. Hopefully we can continue, but I think a lot of the standings jockeying early in the position, probably outside of Northwest, maybe a Washburn, is more about scheduling than who's necessarily going to be, who is at the top and who's at the bottom.
Well, Tigers got 2 nice wins on Saturday, or over the week, Thursday and Saturday. And as Coach mentioned, at Emporia State Wednesday, and then a tough one at Washburn coming up this Saturday. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll talk more about the week ahead. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. We do it over the noon hour on Monday, so hope you can join us next week. It's Old Chicago, where they invite you to join them for happy hour from 3 until 6, Monday through Friday at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. We'll take a break. More with the coach right after this here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
There's a backdoor pass to Nicholson. Now in the corner to Bitston for a three. Good, he put it in and looks at the sideline as he runs back the other way. Timeout, Central Oklahoma.
Yeah, some of the action from Saturday and the Tigers win over the Broncos. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room recording Tiger Talk over the noon hour. And we certainly hope you can join us for the program next week. Old Chicago, they're your craft beer authority. Over 40 rotating draft beers. You can stop by today north of the interstate. Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. That was fun to watch Jared Vittstam on Saturday. I mean, seen him play, seen him shoot it in practice. He's a good shooter. And finally broke 3, 5 of 7 from 3, a double-double, 20 points, 12 boards, career-high 37 minutes, and you needed every one of them. But finally fun to see him out there hitting some shots and having fun and playing a good game.
Yeah, I mean, it changes our team. You know, today's game, it's changed so much. Outside, it even helps when you have a center who can shoot the ball from the perimeter and shoot threes. But the game's it's a game you can't have. If you're not a center, you have to be able to shoot the ball. And what Jared gives us at times and the ability to stretch the floor, and he hasn't shot it very well, and he finally did. And when he does, you see it changes our team. And like I've always, we said, the difference between good and average in a game is 4 times. 4 times down the floor, you make a basket, 4 more times, and that changes. You go from scoring 64 points to 72 or 72 to 83, especially when they're threes. It's like Jared, we're just looking at his stats going into the game. If he could just make 1 more per game than he has been, that's going to be a big deal for him and us. And he ended up making 5. So, like I said, he's not going to do that every game, but he's more, he's somewhere in between 5 out of 7 and what his stats are. He shoots it well in practice, and hopefully this gives him a confidence boost. And like I said, it really changes. And if you look at what happened in the second half, is a little bit what happened to us up in Minnesota. You start playing these teams that are just making so many threes, you get so spread out that your defense just becomes useless. Your guys are so connected to their man, and you look in the second half, we were shooting so well. All of a sudden, Aaron Nicholson gets to the basket, gets 2 layups. Marcus Cooper, the floor opens up for everybody because everybody gets so concerned. Well, I can't leave Jared Vittstam. This guy's made 5 threes. I got to stay out. And Trey played. I mean, that's 2 of the last 3 games. Trey O'Neal has made 3. I think going into the Baptist game, he had not made a 3 in conference season. He made 3 that night, and then he turned around and made 3 again. And again, 1, those are added points. 2, it just opens the floor and gets the defense so spread out that they have a hard time guarding.
Yeah, he's 6 out of 8 in his last 3, and that's been a big factor as well. And Kyler Kinnaman, we talked about it. I mean, he's had a really good career, having a really phenomenal senior year. 12 assists, a new career high, and one of the top assist providers in the conference, top in assist-to-turnover ratio, and it's been really fun to watch him distribute the ball. And has the ability, and he's shot it a lot better as well.
Yeah, he's 41%. He doesn't take a lot. He takes the ones. I think a big thing, too, he's finishing at the rim better his senior year. When he gets there, he's finishing at a higher rate than he has in the past. And again, he, like I said, his assist turnover, I always hear – good players 2-to-1. I think a point guard, that's not good enough. If you're a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, you got to be at least 3-to-1. And I think right now he's almost 4-to-1 in his assists. I think he's up at like 80-something turnovers, or I'm sorry, 80-something assists and like 22 turnovers. So, he's really playing well, and he's always going to give you defense, and he's going to give you effort every day. It's not just the game effort, which obviously helps you win. It's just, Kyler's been here 4 years. I don't think there's ever been a day where I've ever had to say anything to him about, hey, you're not ready to practice or you're not practicing hard. And, those are things that you take for granted, and when it's not there, you're definitely going to miss. And, he brings that every day for us.
Well, Emporia State on Wednesday, the Hornets, not a bad team. They've got Haluchaweki at the point guard, scores a lot of points and can be a challenge. It wasn't an easy. You win by 10, I think, at home, but it certainly had to work to pull off that victory the last time you played them. And you're kind of like, as you said, they're probably better than their record, back against the wall, and you're going to always catch a good effort from them, especially on their floor.
Yeah, I think offensively they're a good team. we didn't do a very good job guarding them here. And they're a team like us and most teams. I mean, at home they're even that much better. They shoot the ball a lot better. They play a fast tempo at times. The point guard can really make a lot happen. He's a strong, athletic kid. The two Glick brothers really shoot the ball. And a kid that's a good player, it's looking at him now, Julius Washington, number 24. We couldn't guard him. Now, he had not made a three when they came to our place, and he made a three late. It was his first made three of the game. You look now, he's up to over 12 makes, and his shooting percentage is like 37. So, obviously, since then, he's shooting it at a high rate, and he's a difficult matchup. So, I mean, transition defense will be big, and it'll be a hard game at their place. They play seems to be at a different level at home than on the road.
It's been a good place for you. I mean, you've had a lot of success in that building. Hopefully it will continue, and I think a lot of it is because you've played well for whatever reason at that venue, and hopefully that'll continue Wednesday.
We have played well, and I think a lot of times we've guarded well there, and that's going to be the game here. They are a team that if you look at their struggles, it's not offense, it's defense, and they're going to double team the post, and Brady's got to handle that. But it's one of those games where we got to be willing to guard them and slow them down. If we make shots, run good offense, you feel like we can score some points there. Now, again, we got to make shots and run good offense, but it's more kind of like Central Oklahoma. We have to be able to slow them down enough and not let them have a big offensive night. They're going to have, it's hard. You're not going to go to Emporia, I don't think, with this group and their style of play and hold them to 60. But, I mean, we can't let them get up in 85 and that. But, I mean, we need to slow them down enough that if we run good offense and guys step up and make shots, that'll put us in a good spot.
And then Saturday, you go to Topeka. Washburn lost a tough one to Northwest, but they're certainly going to be in the hunt for the conference championship. That's going to take a phenomenal effort, and maybe even some things kind of go your way because they're going to be very difficult, especially in Topeka, for the only meeting you have with them.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're playing the same one. I mean, they're really up-tempo right now, really up-tempo. Got good guards. And the thing they do, though, too, is they guard you back. I mean, they really get after you and gave us problems last year. And they battled Northwest over the weekend, and that was without their starting four-man. I think he's had a kind of a sore Achilles and didn't play the Wednesday night game, and I saw he only played 5 minutes. Now, Will McKee makes a difference. He's a four-man that can really stretch it out, really shoot the ball, good athlete. So I'm assuming he'll be healthy. It'll be a week away, so he'll be healthy. But I think they're up there with Northwest competing for arguably the best team in the league. I think they probably, with Southern, are probably a little more consistent on that defensive effort game night after night, maybe probably more so than Southern is at times. So it'll be a big weekend for us, and you got to win your home games to have a solid to good season. If you want to be in the mix, you want to be competing for conference championships, you want to be trying to make NCAA tournaments, you have to go on the road and win, and this is an opportunity for us to go on the road and see if we can be that team and put us in a position late in the season.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you Wednesday in Emporia.
Thanks, Gerard.
There you go. Head coach Mark Johnson of the Tigers as they get set to take on Emporia State. Don't forget, you can catch the video replay of Tiger Talk Tuesday and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614. You can always watch it online at HayesPost.com. Tiger Talk brought to you today by the Hayes-Med Orthopedic Institute. It's part of the University of Kansas Health System. The Taco Shop, you've never had it so good. Adams Brown, Barron and Ball. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. BTI, Horizon Appliance and Mattress, Valley Hope of Norton, as well as Eagle Communications, and of course brought to you by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, your craft beer authority. Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. Tigers in Emporia on Wednesday. Women at 5:30, men following around 7:30. And we'll be on the air at 5:05 with the Auto World pregame show. Then Saturday from Lee Arena in Topeka, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock on the air at 12:35. So hope you can make it. If not, join us right here on the Tiger Sports Network. We'll see you next Monday on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. So long, everyone.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at HayesPost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.